Hi there, my name's Aaron Short and welcome to my YouTube channel, and today I'm talking about the Kemper Profiler Player. This was announced a few weeks ago and I was instantly very interested because if you watch my channel, you know I'm always looking for a very compact solution that will fit in my guitar case and allow me to take public transport to a band gig. So I was thinking to myself, if you look at the unit on the screen, there's 3 buttons. I was hoping to have a clean on 1, a crunch on 2, or kind of a driven sound, and a lead sound on 3, a heavy sound on 3. I was hoping I'd have access to the morph feature from the bigger units, and I could hold down button 1 and then get like a boost in volume and reverb and then adding a delay. And then I was hoping that I could add a 2-button foot switch to the unit and have one of those buttons be a tap tempo and one of those buttons be access to the tuner. For me, that's kind of all I need. So I ordered the unit and I've got it, and it's not really working out for me as I wanted it to, and I'll show you now what I mean about that on the screen. So the player is currently connected to my computer, and if you go to the preset here, you can see we have our amp and cab in Rig Manager. On the other bigger Kempers, you'll have 4 effects on the left and 4 effects on the right, which for some people isn't a lot, but for me it's absolutely fine. With the player, you get the effects with it, but you only get 2 either side. I find this a bit weird and a bit limiting. Kemper have said that the processor in the player is the same as the bigger units. And also, I was disappointed because I went to some of the effects. I tried to put a distortion in there, one of the drive pedals, and it's not there. So they've taken out some of the effects and they've limited the amount of effects, even though they allow us to load presets from the other unit in it. It's a bit restricting and it doesn't really work for me. But here's the thing, you've probably heard that Kemper have said in the future they will let us pay to have access to more features. I would be very interested in trying this again if and when they do that. I wouldn't mind doing that if it truly would work as an all-in-one the way I just mentioned. Aside from that, I did try the sounds and I was really impressed with some of the sounds. I went through the included profiles and I tried some ones I purchased in the past and I wasn't getting very far. Some of them are too bassy. Actually, a lot of them are too bassy. I wasn't that blown away. But I then stumbled across the included liquid profiles, which is a new feature from Kemper, and I liked them a lot more. So despite swearing that I would never buy any profiles or presets again because I've spent so much money on them in the past and they just never worked for me, I did buy some more liquid profiles from Rigbusters, and they don't know I'm making this video, but they had them on sale. They had the amps I wanted. They said they were new creations. So I got them and I was able to dial in great sounds very quickly. Let me show you what I mean. This is them on the screen here. So this is a deluxe clean that I found, and we've just got some reverb. The reverbs are here. If you click down here, you can see in reverb, I think there's less though. All the effects are kind of stripped down, but I'll do the small plate. I normally do less mix and more time. And I'll just play a bit of that for you on my Strat. So I'm really happy with these sounds. The liquid profiles, if you don't know, give you tone stacks from the original amplifier. So for example, if you look here, it says amp model. You can select, well, they select it for you when you get a profile. You can see here, it's actually using the tone stack from a deluxe normal channel. It's not the generic that we used to have. The one we used to have wasn't bad. It was basically like a studio EQ, just a generic EQ at the end of the signal. And that's still useful, and you can still select it, or you can add it at the end as an EQ block. But this is faithful to the actual amp and reacts like the amp would. And that's why I bought these packs, because they obviously are made for these ones here. So they have it here loaded up. And I just find when I change the EQ on here, it's just very faithful to the amp. I don't know what it is. There's just something about it that just kind of sounds and feels better to me. I tried so many profiles. Maybe it's that the other profiles are made at certain volumes or something, but there's something about these liquid profiles. It's just better to me. I'm a big fan of this. This kind of made me want to keep the pedal because it sounds so good. I was able to dial in the sound so much faster. Let me show you another one. So this is a deluxe on the crunch kind of sound. So it's a heavier sound. Kind of bright, but again, if you change the EQ, you can hear it in the high end there, and needs more low end. So the EQ just makes me happier when I change it rather than the one we had before. I don't know, I can't really explain it, but there's something better about it. There's something just nice about the way, I mean, it could just be these profiles, but I think it's the combination of the profiles and the fact they're liquid profiles. Anyway, I like them, so whatever. And then there's one more I'll just show you before I continue, which is like more of a heavy one. Before I load them up and tweak them until I got happy, I didn't save them, but that was just the 3 and then some quick changes. But I just found that very fast to dial them in, much faster than the other profiles that I found that are included, the ones I purchased before. So I do like those a lot. And then I started to think to myself, well, I kind of want to keep it now. But then I found some more limitations. If you go to the system, I thought, well, I can configure that 2-button foot switch the way I want. But if you look here, you'll see there's a way to press 2 buttons at once. That's not enabled yet in the firmware. So the thing about this unit is, like everything else these days, I think they released it too soon. If I had access to these other buttons, if I could pay them a fee and have access to all the effects blocks, and if they add morph, and that's included in that price as well, I could probably make this work exactly how I want it to work. We don't know. That's the frustrating thing with gear these days. It's not there. So what did I decide to do? Decided to return it. And what am I getting instead? I actually decided to get the full Kemper. Again, I've had one before. The thing right now is on the used market, and even new, if you shop around, you can get that for not much more than the player. And it gives you all the effects, all the features. Yes, okay, it's not what I'm looking for size-wise. It's bigger. I'll just fill you in if you're a regular viewer. I did talk about keeping the Quad Cortex. I do still stand behind the Quad Cortex. It's an amazing unit. It's so flexible. But I kept it because I said I would take it around as a smaller unit. I haven't done that. Practically, it is kind of on the small side. They haven't released many updates. Kemper have actually released more updates, in my opinion, last year than Neural have. They've kind of annoyed me because they don't seem to be releasing updates as fast as I want and not giving me the features that I personally want, which are probably not what you want, but I want more vocal stuff and things like that. But as a straight up guitar rig, I really like the Kemper. And I thought, you know what? I'll get the full Kemper. I'll go to NAMM, and if I see hints of big things coming for the Quad Cortex, I'll keep that as my portable rig. If that doesn't happen, I'll probably sell it, and I'll keep the Kemper for now, because they just released this liquid profiling, the iPhone app, which is actually really useful to me for the way I use a unit, and that's not coming from the Quad Cortex as far as I've heard. So anyway, long story short, I really like liquid profiles. I particularly like these profiles that I got from Rig Busters, but I haven't actually tried any of those from other companies. That's quite a new thing. But if you've got a Kemper, definitely try the liquid profiles if you're struggling with the regular profiles. Yeah, so I've got a Kemper again. It's the news of the day, really. And I will get another Kemper player if they add the exact features that I mentioned, but only if they do that, because otherwise it won't be something that I just will never use. But I got to say, I'm really enjoying the Kemper again, and the liquid profiles with the big Kemper are awesome. I'll give you a quick playthrough of that before I go. So as you can see now, we now have 4 effects before, 4 effects after. And now when I load the patch, I get the effects that they meant to be in there, like the delay and the studio EQ. And if I want to add a drive, I can go here to effects. And now that we've got more, we've now got the Kemper drives that were added a while ago. Look at that. There's so much more in the full Kemper. Kemper, I really hope you give us full access to this. I personally don't mind paying more. I understand that you need to make money and you can't give a full Kemper in a $700 pedal. I don't mind paying a premium to have a full Kemper in a $700 pedal because it then means I can travel around with just a guitar case. Right now, I'd have to take the Kemper stage, which isn't a big deal really, but I'd much rather have the player with me because I don't need all the foot switches. I just need the 3 buttons and the 2-button foot switch. If you give us morph as well. Are you going to do that? I mean, there's 2 lights on each button. You could do it. But are you going to? We'll have to wait to find out, sadly. But this thing is awesome now. So now I've got 4 effects on each side. And there's some other cool things too. Obviously, I've got the XLR out. I'm in stereo right now because I've got the stereo output, which is much easier to use on the full Kemper, the big Kemper stage. And I'll go back here and show you the other sounds as well quickly. So here's that crunch I had before. I also like how it reacts to the volume control on the guitar. So it's quite crunchy, this one. If I bring the guitar volume down, it kind of retains it really well. And in the amp section, you've got that compressor as well. If you bring that up, that will actually compensate for you turning the guitar volume down and raise the level so it doesn't drop too drastically. Some really nice little features in the Kemper that are not in the other units that have been added over the years that are just very useful and practical. So let's hear this one. Check it out, when I play really soft, it's so clean, and when I dig in, it really breaks up. This is a great profile. If I could play softly while I'm performing, I could do everything for that one profile, maybe. It's impressive. I like that a lot. And then the clean one. So they're not loading stuff in the patch for us, but again, we have the ability now to add more things into the patch, which is going to be useful long term. So I don't know what it is. There's just something about that there where I turned up the treble and it just seemed to turn up those frequencies that maybe I was expecting it to turn up, rather than before you load a profile and adjust the EQ and it was a generic EQ, so it maybe wasn't boosting the frequencies you thought that it would. You know what I mean? It's like, I keep talking about this, like when you come from amps, when you're my age and you've grown up with amps and not digital products. You know, when I grew up, they were starting to come out, like the Pod Bean. I guess in my mind, I kind of know what I want to happen when I turn the treble knob, and now it's happening at that frequency. So on some amps, that's not desirable. Someone was saying that like Marshall amps, the EQ doesn't affect anything, and it's better to have an external EQ. But then you can have the studio equalizer that you see there on the screen. You can have that to change those specific frequencies like you would in a recording. But this is changing what you'd expect it to on the amp. So if you own a deluxe reverb, which I don't, but I played one recently, I've turned the knobs and I'm expecting them to sound a certain way, and now you get that. So this is nice for some people that are coming from the real thing. They'll get more of a real experience. I think it's great. I think they were very smart to do this, and I hope they keep adding these amazing updates to what is a pretty old unit now, but they just keep making it better. It's great. Kemper Profiler Player. I just feel it's another one of these units that they have to release at a certain time. It's not quite ready. I don't like getting gear that has features grayed out and hearing on forums that you can add the features later. I don't mind paying for the extra features. Now, you might not agree with me, and that's fine. Let me know in the comments below. Respectfully, please. I really love the sound of the Kemper. I still do after all these years. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit back. I'm going to return the Profiler Player, and I'm going to sit back and wait to see what Kemper do next. And if they announce that they're giving us all the features of the bigger unit, maybe even everything, profiling, morphing, all the effects, and they're letting us configure the 2-button foot switch exactly how we want, then I would buy another one and I'd pay the extra to unlock the features. I'd use that for any gig that came in, because you can also connect the powered Kemper cabinet to it as well. The powered Kemper cabinet with this and the 2-button foot switch would be an incredible rig. Absolutely incredible for me, for what I do as an all-in-one. Amazing. If they do that, I'll get one and I'll let you know when that happens, or if that happens. Until then, I'm going to enjoy the Kemper stage. It's funny how buying the Profiler Player made me then want to get a Kemper stage again. And also because of that feature of the liquid profiles. It's incredible with this digital gear how one new feature that's added with firmware can completely change the whole unit. To bring me back to Quad Cortex, they could do that too. Next week, they could say, right, here's a new firmware update with this, 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 and this. And there could be a feature in there that makes me just need to have a Quad Cortex. But they haven't done that yet. And I'm still kind of waiting for them to prove themselves to me. For me, there's still things missing that I need. The Kemper doesn't have any of the vocal stuff or anything, no mic input, of course. But as a straight up guitar rig, I just love it. And some people say, well, it's old now. You know what? I don't care. I still use the TC Helicon Voice Live 3 Extreme for my solo shows that I do full-time professionally. And there's just nothing better. It looks so old, but you know what? It's light. It's not small, but it's light. And it's got so many practical features for me that make me enjoy performing. And that's why I still use that old piece of gear. And that is exactly the same reason why I like the Kemper. Yes, it's older, but the features are practical. And some of the other units just feel like kind of a beta product. Maybe the Kemper felt like a beta product at launch, but we're not at launch, are we? We're in 2024. Here's a question for you for the comments. Do you want to buy the latest and greatest that will have maybe a longer shelf life, but isn't ready to use the way you want it to? Or would you rather have an older unit that may be replaced in a few years, but has all the features you need today? You know, I still struggle with that question myself. That's why I bought the Quad Cortex. I convinced myself that's the newer unit. But in reality, the Kemper, especially with the updates from last year, is just the most practical unit, in my opinion. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know if you bought the Profiler Player, if you have a Kemper, or let me know what unit you're using these days. And I'll let you know in a future video what happens with the Quad Cortex if you're interested. And I hope at NAMM we get more information on upcoming updates for the Quad Cortex. I know we're getting plugin compatibility, but that does mean buying the plugins. And for me, that's nothing really new because I can use the plugins I have already. I've already got some of them. I can just use them right now through my interface. I want new stuff. And Kemper have added really cool features that a lot of people haven't even spoken about over the years that are just really practical. And I commend them for that. All right, if you're new here, please subscribe and ring the bell. I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Take care and be well. Bye-bye.